The following program is being brought to you on the Voice America Business Channel. For more information about our network and to check our additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit voiceamericabusiness.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the following program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.
In the past few years, we've heard the term free agents and been told we would all need to become one in order to succeed. The recent economic structures have helped to promote this concept as reality. Where do we get the tools to take control of our career path in the present and future? Welcome to The Career Confidant with your host, Marie Zimenoff. Marie and her guest experts are here to provide you with the tools you need to move forward and achieve your career goals. Now, here is Marie Zimenoff.
Hello, and welcome to The Career Confidant. We're glad that you're joining us here, as we are here every week to provide you with the tools and resources you need to take your career in the direction you want to go. So if you've been listening for a while, you know we talk about career advancement, networking, interviewing, job search, resumes, LinkedIn profiles, how to use social media, and much, much more. All of the things that you need to know to be able to move up in your career, move out, do whatever it is that you are looking to do with your career. And of course, we talk about this because we know that companies more and more are not going to walk you through some kind of a career progression. They are moving just as fast as maybe the speed of light, and you are really in charge of making sure that you're keeping up and that you are employable and able to move when something happens, as we see every day is inevitable to said company, and we're on our own. So today we're going to be talking about a topic that we've talked about frequently on the show because it really covers a lot of these areas, and that is personal branding. Now, personal branding is really, what do you want to be known for? And how do you get known by the people that you want to be known by? It's a proactive process, right? That therefore the ing at the end of brand, personal branding, means that you are doing something to share with people your brand, which is that which you've decided you want to be known for. You're doing something to proactively communicate that to people and to be known for that. So, for instance, if you're in the software development world and you've decided you want to be known for your expertise in building outsourced teams, right? Building teams in India or maybe even in South America now who do the development for your company, that is a very strong brand. Specific, it solves a specific problem for a company. And of course, it brings with it specific skill sets that you would have as that individual. That, of course, in comparison to someone who just says, oh, I'm a software development manager. Well, software development managers are a dime a dozen at the moment. Software developers in high demand, but software development managers a dime a dozen. If we're not communicating our unique value, the unique problem that we solve, we're really just caught up in that mass, right? In that group of people who all say the same things about themselves. Of course, branding takes some guts, right? It takes some confidence, because we are, not really, but there's the idea that perhaps we're shutting out opportunities by being specific. Of course, if we've looked at any sales or marketing best practices, we know that being specific is actually how you get sales, because if we're generic, no one buys that, no one remembers it, no one understands why they would need to buy it when it's generic and trying to be everything to everyone. So this idea of brand has been growing. And it's really, although branding may be the new term and possibly overused and you're sick of hearing about it, it's really foundational to you taking control of your career. Because for you to do that, of course, you have to know where you're going, what you want to do, and you have to have people around you who know those things and value what you bring, which they can only do if you can communicate it and value it yourself. So when we look at branding, it's a big process, right? It's very similar to the career counseling process that I do with all of my clients. What do you want to do? Where are you going? What are your skill sets? What are your strengths? Those all go into building a strong brand. And then, of course, the communication part of that doesn't mean job search. In fact, it's best done before job search so that when you get laid off, people in your industry know you already. And boy, wouldn't that be an easy way to search when you're not introducing yourself to people. You're contacting people who already know and value your skills and know where you want to go, know what you stand for. Much easier conversation. And of course, if you're internal, this is key to being promoted, to have the people around you and above you know what you want to do, know what your skill sets are, know what your strengths are. And the clearer we are about our brand and the clearer we can answer those questions, the less we have to boast or push. It's just part of who we are. It's part of what we do every day, and people know that about us. So this idea of branding is always shifting, and maybe less the internal, how you develop that brand piece of it shifts, but definitely the how you communicate it, part of it is shifting daily, perhaps. And so William Arruda, who is the guru of personal branding, if you will, he runs an organization called Reach Personal Branding. He every year puts out a group of branding trends for the new year. And this is on Forbes. If you search William Arruda on Forbes, you'll quickly find his branding trends for 2016. I'm taking a little bit of liberty here because his trends tend to be a little bit more focused on corporate than on you as an individual. So I'll be sharing some of his brand trends and then adapting and coming up with a few additional ones to share with you in terms of brand trends for 2016. I'm getting ahead of myself here. So 2016, what's going on, right? These are not maybe overly into the world of, I've never heard of that before, but it's really this, what is going on and how does it affect you? The move to mobile. So we'll talk a little bit about how that's affecting branding. Obviously, it's affecting corporate branding and corporate web presence. How does it affect you, this move to mobile? Do you really need a mobile resume? And what does all that mean? Video scares most of us. And this is not new, but people are slow adopters when it comes to video. So we'll talk a little bit about that. What does that mean to your brand? What does it look like? Is it a 4-minute video about your life? We'll talk about that. Employees becoming as visible, if not more visible, than companies in some marketing platforms. And the opportunity that that creates for you as an employee, as William calls it, a thought leader, although we'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like and what that could mean for you as an employee. We're going to talk about how this new trend is also moving us to more specific places than LinkedIn. LinkedIn, obviously, is a big place for your brand to be visible. However, there are trends brewing that show other places are going to start being as important for you to create that visibility for your brand. Show it, don't tell it is becoming so much more important. Links back to the idea of video and to some other pieces that we can use, especially on LinkedIn, and how we communicate and other mediums that we can bring in. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. And then the idea that training and continuing education, being on top of your field, with how things move, almost no matter what industry you're in, what type of job, it is evolving quickly. And companies value your continuing education. They value your dedication to your continuing education, perhaps even if they don't offer any support or money for you to do it, although many more companies are providing that ability for you to take continuing education. Even if they're not, it's going to be valued by them in moving you to wherever you want to go, inside and up or outside and up. So we'll talk about those 6 brand trends and maybe throw in another one in there that William had on his list, and how they're impacting you. Going mobile. Do you need to be on video? How can you take advantage of the trend that your brand is important to your company and that its visibility is important to your company? How can you be visible in the mediums that matter, which is maybe more than just LinkedIn? LinkedIn is probably a part of it. And how can you really switch from this idea of kind of telling about your value to really showing it? And as the mediums that we use change, and as the use of those mediums grows, this voice, this importance of what you say and how you say it in your branding is changing, and so we'll talk about that. So let's kick off here. We're going to go to a break here in just a few minutes. But mobile. Mobile is the first place people go. William used to talk about that it's digital first, and I would say that we're shifting now to where it's mobile first. People search for you on their mobile phone. Sure, there's maybe searching Google or other things that they could find on a web browser, but that's not where they're searching. They're searching on their mobile phone. And as this happens more and more, of course, people start to pop up with things that you need. You need a mobile website. You need a mobile resume. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that, because yes, things are going more mobile. People would rather open an app than go to the web. But what apps are they opening? What does that look like for you? Or what apps can you take advantage of? Because my guess is, as an individual, you probably don't have the money to create an app all about Marie, right? And someone could buy this app or download it for free. And 2, who's going to push people to open that app, to buy that app, to even download it for free? Same conundrum that we talk about with websites for a company or for you as an individual. Great to have one, but it's not going to do any good unless someone, some content is in some way pushing people to engage with that website, or as we're talking about here, to engage with that app. So what does mobile really mean for you as an individual in your building your brand? We'll get to that when we come back from our break in just a few minutes.
Voice America Business Network, the bottom line in business.
You know that the career landscape has changed and that you need to be proactive about managing your career. You can have the foresight, skills, and confidence you need to take charge of your career and seize opportunities. A strategic advantage and career expert, Marie Zimenoff has helped thousands of leaders like you get focused, get found, and get hired. Visit getcareersmart.com to find out more. That's getcareersmart.com or call 800-521-2080 to schedule your complimentary consultation.
There are two types of leaders in business. Those who are nice, compassionate people, and frankly, they are the people who fail to get a lot done. Then there are those who can get everything done and so much more. But they are greedy, unethical, and self-centered. The Compassionate Samurai Business Hour with Kathy Fairbanks finds a way to use the best of both types of leaders to help you create a dynamic roadmap to success. Tune in every Thursday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time, 4 p.m. Eastern on Voice America Business.
Great leaders today have certain capabilities that set them apart. These leaders have discovered transformational leadership. Now, you can discover the same ideas, insights, and programs that have led them to success. Inside Transformational Leadership, hosted by Kate Ebner, is produced by Georgetown University's Institute for Transformational Leadership. We'll explore these stories and concepts every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific Time on the Voice America Business Channel.
From the boardroom to you, Voice America Business Network.
You are tuned in to The Career Confidant with Marie Zimenoff. If you have a question or comment for Marie or her guest today, please call 1-866-472-5790. That's 1-866-472-5790. You may also send an email to marie@astrategicadvantage.com. Now, back to The Career Confidant.
Welcome back to The Career Confidant, and today we are talking about personal branding. So the idea of creating a clear idea of who you are, what you bring, the value that you bring to an organization, what you stand for, and where you want to go, right? Those are all this piece of your brand, and then branding being that proactive process of communicating it to those individuals that you want to know what that is so that you can move up or move out in your career. So we're talking a little bit about these trends, and the first one that we dug into right before our break was mobile. Now, mobile is, as I said, taking hold, right? Today on Google, if you don't have a mobile optimized website, you don't show up in the results when someone searches as high. There's all of these things that are starting to happen because everyone has moved to mobile first. They search there, they look there. So for you as a job seeker, does that mean you need to create your own app? No. Who's going to buy that? Who's going to download it, even for free, right? It's more about understanding how you can use those apps to build your brand so that others see you when you're on mobile, when they're on mobile. Here's a few examples. LinkedIn, for instance. On LinkedIn, on the website itself, when you're on a laptop or, oh my gosh, maybe even a desktop computer, you have the opportunity to send someone a personalized invitation to connect very easily, right? It pops up on the screen. When you're on your mobile, if you hit one button, you are going to send the silly request, the template request to connect with people. It doesn't do anything for you, right? It doesn't give you the opportunity to tell that person how you met or to tell them why you'd like to meet. Don't do it. However, on mobile, even when you're on LinkedIn on your mobile, there's little dots in the upper right-hand corner when you go to try to connect with someone that give you the opportunity to personalize that request. Do that, even if you're on your mobile. Realize how your portfolio, your profile looks on LinkedIn mobile, right? It's a very shortened version of LinkedIn. Have your colleague or your friend or pull up your profile on your own mobile, see what it looks like. Does that say what you want it to say? If not, how can you change it? Make those titles different. rearrange your work history to show the things that are most current. You can do almost anything you want to do in your profile in terms of rearranging and all of those things. So know what that looks like and do that. That is your mobile app, right? Because people are going there automatically. They're going there anyway. Make sure you look as good as you can look on that mobile platform. Facebook, similar. If you're into it, Twitter, but just realizing that those are the mobile places that it's easy for you to be seen, to be found, that recruiters and hiring managers are using those tools, mobile, yes, that's how they're finding people. Now, do you want to make sure that your resume isn't so long and text dense and hard to read that it's going to look bad on a mobile phone? Of course, but it doesn't necessarily need to be a separate mobile app. I don't know that we're to the place yet, or that we're going to be at the place in 2016 where you need to be overdoing it in that direction. Mobile for your brand also means that there may be things you want to use and understand how you can use your mobile phone to better manage your brand. So what kind of alerts do you want to get from a LinkedIn, Twitter, or Facebook? How are you going to communicate with people? And I think part of our brand in some ways is not just when we're available or that we're available, but how available are you? How does that figure into your brand? Are you always available? Is that important to you? Do you set your phone down after 6? And hey, whether it's mobile or computer, part of my brand is that I'm not doing business after 6. Whatever that might be for you in this mobile world, those are all choices and part of our conscious brand that we want to be thinking about and making decisions around. And of course, William talks about in his article other apps that you can use to help yourself. So he talks about an app called Refresh, which can take the information from your calendar and web data from LinkedIn and everywhere and put it together so that when you have a meeting with someone, this Refresh app has gone through and pulled all the information together for you about who this person is. What does their LinkedIn profile say about them? What does the web say about them? Could be helpful. Other mobile apps that you might want to use obviously might be even just managing your contacts. Do you use some kind of a contact management system? You can use LinkedIn to do this, right? You can have LinkedIn send you emails, reminders when it's time to connect with someone, when it's time to make those relationships refreshed, right? Managing your calendar, all those other things that mobile do for you. I recently know someone who went and got a smart watch because they were frequently missing meetings because they worked in a way that they didn't carry their phone with them, or that even if the phone was buzzing in their pocket, they're working on an engine, they're not paying attention to their pocket buzzing. And so this smartwatch they were hoping would help their brand in terms of being on time and never missing their meetings, because now it's right there on their wrist. Their wrist is vibrating that, hey, it's time to get to this meeting. So mobile is obviously a tool you want to use, but you want to think about what parts of that make sense before you start spending a bunch of time and money to create a mobile resume or whatever it is that you think you need. What is your target audience doing on mobile? What are they looking for? How are they using it? And I can tell you, because I've been trying to do some research on this, very few hiring managers, companies, are really hiring via mobile. They're doing some mobile things with LinkedIn, obviously, Facebook, Twitter, but they don't have the money to write a mobile app for their company that would allow you to apply for a job on it. They're getting there, but they're not quite there yet. And in some ways, LinkedIn facilitates that for them. So many of them have not seen it to be financially necessary to do something separate for themselves when they can use some of these existing technologies. So do a little bit of poking around, see what's going on in your industry before you leap into mobile beyond using those things that can help you build and communicate your brand, and knowing how to use them so they don't hurt you, like the little one-click send the template connection request on LinkedIn. Poke around, figure out how to use those apps in a way that still allow you to communicate well and connect with people while using that ease of the app. Second brand trend here is video. Now, this is not new, right? Video is not new. YouTube is by far not new. But people have not really incorporated video into their personal brand. I think we can come up with a lot of excuses for it, right? Well, everything I could present upon would be owned by the company or whatever it might be. But the real truth for most of us is that we're nervous. We don't like to see ourselves on video. Very, very few people like to see themselves on video. Listen to some of the actors and actresses, right? They don't watch their own movies, a lot of them either. So we make up excuses. The other thing is that we don't know what we would say or why we would use it or where to use it. So let's talk about some of those things. First, video is going to be part of your world in some way or another because everything is moving online. You're going to be video conferencing with your team. You're going to be video interviewing with your future bosses. All of those technologies are going to be used more and more. Now, people do want to be able to get an introduction to you via video. However, that does not mean a 3 to 4 minute diatribe about your career. Most videos are best at 60 to 90 seconds, and even 90 seconds is kind of a long video. Watch one, right? Go and watch any video and note the first time you start to think about changing the channel. It's usually about 60 seconds in. So if you're going to create an introduction video for yourself, it needs to be short, sweet, to the point. Again, emphasizing the power of having clarity around that brand. The other thing is that the video doesn't have to be your face. It could be a slideshow presentation that you are narrating. Still, your voice is great. And it doesn't really have to be about you. It could be about what you do. It could be a snippet of a presentation you've given somewhere. And don't give yourself the shortcut answer of, oh, that's owned by my company. Really think about, what have I done that I could share 60 seconds of that maybe is going to make me look good, give people an introduction to what I do, the value that I offer that we'll talk about shortly, but maybe even be wildly accepted by my employer for some of the reasons that we'll talk about next. Because of course our third brand trend is that employers are using their employees and their brands to get more visibility on lots of these social media channels. And a video that you're posting that has win-win potential will most likely be looked on very well by your employer. So we'll talk about that in more detail when we come back from our break here in just a few minutes.
The business community's first choice in Internet Talk Radio, Voice America Business Network.
You know that the career landscape has changed and that you need to be proactive about managing your career. You can have the foresight, skills, and confidence you need to take charge of your career and seize opportunities. A strategic advantage and career expert, Marie Zimenoff has helped thousands of leaders like you get focused, get found, and get hired. Visit getcareersmart.com to find out more. That's getcareersmart.com or call 800-521-2080 to schedule your complimentary consultation. Are you a business innovator or are you just sitting on the sidelines? Tune in every week for Coffee Break with Game Changers, presented by SAP. Host Bonnie D. Graham talks to a cross-section of the movers and shakers who are leading by example. They will share best practices and innovative ideas to keep you thinking and moving along with the best. Join us for Coffee Break with Game Changers, presented by SAP, Wednesday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific Time on the Voice America Business Channel.
You have a message. You want to share that message. You want it to be social, to go viral, and spread across the planet. But how do you get started? Tune into Amplify, featuring host Ken Rochon and co-host Gisela Gonzalez. This show is here to help you take that message and channel it through the most effective marketing techniques to not only be successful, but have a positive impact on the world. Tune in live every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Pacific on the Voice America Business Channel, and get amplified.
When it comes to business, you'll find the experts here. Voice America Business Network. You are tuned in to The Career Confidant with Marie Zimenoff. If you have a question or comment for Marie or her guest today, please call 1-866-472-5790. That's 1-866-472-5790. You may also send an email to marie@astrategicadvantage.com. Now, back to The Career Confidant.
Hello and welcome back to the Career Confidant, and today we're talking about branding trends. So what is new and what's going on in this world of promoting yourself? And how does that work? How does that change as our mostly the mediums for doing it change? So we've talked a little bit about mobile and what that means for your brand and some of the ways you might think about using the existing mobile technologies to enhance your brand and your branding, which would be the communication with those other people that you want to know what you stand for and what you want to do with your career. Then we talked a little bit about video. And video is the thing we all want to avoid in some ways, I think. So think about other ways that you can do it. Slide share that you're narrating, PowerPoint that is. And why do you do this, right? You do video to give people a quick introduction to you, to capture that idea that nobody's reading anymore. Right. So if I can go to your LinkedIn profile or whatever it is and click on that video, then I can do something else while I listen to it, really. And I would say that on the whole, sometimes people watch, but a lot of times they probably have clicked away and they're listening. So introducing yourself, what you do, the value that you offer, your specific area of expertise, short. 60 to 90 seconds. And then you have that opportunity to put that on your LinkedIn profile where I can click on that. I get a good introduction of you if I want to. I don't know that it necessarily works to send it to people. It's not going to replace a resume. The whole idea of a video resume has so many issues with it. Video is being used, but not in lieu of a resume. I might look at it. I'm looking at your LinkedIn profile. All of these things are things that I want to see, but they all go together. They don't replace each other, right? I'm going to look at your video, get a quick introduction to you. Then I'm going to skim down your LinkedIn profile, see what the highlights are, who else is connected to you, who else is recommending you. And then if I'm really interested in hiring you, most of the time, I'm going to still want a resume. They all go together. They all say a little bit different things, Same message, same basic information, obviously. Different voice, different purpose for all of these mediums. Now, again, I said that a lot of people try to get out of the video thing by saying anything that I say would be owned by my employer. I can't do a slideshow because everything I've invented is owned by my employer. So here's a thought, and this is one of the brand trends that William talks about in terms of thought leadership and thought leadership consultants. So the way he talks about it is that companies are hiring consultants to come in and work with their thought leaders, engineers, anybody who is that subject matter expertise within a company, and help them, coach them, work with them to get that thought leadership out. So you're sitting there telling yourself and telling me that this is something you cannot do, and here there are companies paying people to come in and help their employees, just like you, do just that. Why? Because companies have figured out that they can market until they're blue in the face or more likely bankrupt, and that's not how marketing works anymore today. This advertising and all of that has changed. And they have a great opportunity via especially social media to connect their customers to people just like you. And lots of companies are taking that opportunity. They're encouraging their employees to have LinkedIn profiles, to understand how to use social media. They're posting things on Facebook that they want you as an employee to share or comment on. They want you to post their good stories, of course, on those mediums. And so they're bringing in people to train you how to do that. And so my guess is if you have an idea for a 60-second video on your thought leadership in a certain area, you might go to your marketing people and say, hey, I've got this idea for this video. I'd like to put it on YouTube to help build my subject matter expertise visibility. Is that something that you guys would want to work with me on? Or, hey, just did this presentation at a conference. I'd love to put the SlideShare up and share it more publicly. Why not, right? They already approved you to do it at a conference where most of the people who would care probably saw it anyways. Why not? So a lot of times we put in those roadblocks when actually the opposite may be the case. If we have a savvy company, look, is your company on Facebook? Are they posting things on Facebook? Then they may be more open to this kind of idea than you thought. And in fact, they may be paying consultants to come in and help people in your company do just that, get that thought leadership out. Obviously creates an opportunity for you as an individual to build up your visibility as a thought leader in a very credible way with that company, with your existing company, as part of your existing company. And to me, that would be one of the biggest brand trends over the last couple of years, but it definitely will continue into 2016, is that the brand of you as a star where you are, as a thought leader, as a subject matter expert within your organization, as a contributing valuable member of your company, is a much more compelling brand than any kind of job seeker brand you could try to build. So as you're thinking about what you say on LinkedIn, how you connect with people even on LinkedIn, remember that people are looking for recruiters and hiring managers of all kinds are really looking for individuals who are excelling, succeeding where they are. And you've got to balance any message you're going to be sending about searching or looking with that approach. The desperate, kind of job seeker approach from 2010 of, hey, I'm unemployed, is very unappealing today. And so even if we are unemployed, we have to figure out how to spin and brand and really communicate a brand that shows our thought leadership, subject matter expertise. You don't have to be employed to own those roles, to own that in your industry, in your type of work, whatever it might be. So that would be our brand trend number 4 that I just came up with. And I would throw it in, and I think it's a very important one, that if you're building any kind of messaging, it really needs to be around you as a successful contributing member to your industry, successful employees, whatever that looks like, not job seeker as part of your brand. The next one then that we had mentioned before would be visibility is more than just LinkedIn. So visibility on LinkedIn is great and very important. But as more and more people join that, use it, blog there, do all of those things that in 2015 we were all excited about, of course it starts to hit overload. And so visibility for you and for your brand needs to be as targeted as possible. And that's a key part of your brand. Who's your target audience? Who are they? Where do they work? What level are they? And then where are they? Especially on the web, mobile. It may be LinkedIn, but it may be specific groups within LinkedIn. Newsflash, you can now join 100 groups on LinkedIn instead of 50, but that doesn't mean that you need to. However, if you're a member of some groups and you think, oh, hey, maybe I should join these ones and really get involved in them, doesn't mean you have to throw away the ones you have now. But less than 50 groups is probably what you're going to be able to actually participate in. And probably 2 or 3 that you really want to choose and participate in heavily to build this visibility. But what else is in your industry where your visibility is important? And another news flash here, it may not be online. Maybe it's industry conferences. Maybe it's some kind of industry group online or in person where they're getting together and talking about these things. A lot of my software developers are on specific sites where it shows their development work. What is it for your industry? Where do you really need to be visible? And how can you do more than just LinkedIn? What else in your industry is important? And this goes back to our idea that we talked about in October or maybe even September, that your next move in your career most likely won't be internal. And therefore, your network has to be strong internally and externally. That might be within your industry, might be within your sector, might be within your geography, might be within your type of work. So you're in a group of administrative assistants. Find it. Who's your group? Who needs to know you within that larger group, not just within your internal company? And how can you be visible to them? It's going to be important to your brand as the noise, especially on LinkedIn, gets louder and harder to sort through. You're going to have to make more specific, targeted, and perhaps deeper relationships with those people that you want to know you, that you want to know your brand. Find those conferences, find those meetup groups, or even those online communities where the noise is less because it's more targeted to the folks that you want to be known by. So we'll come back here after our last break and finish up with our last 2 brand trends, talking about showing instead of telling and the importance of our lifelong learning and what our companies really expect there, even if they're not putting their dollars where their mouth is. So we'll be right back here in just a few minutes.
The business community's first choice in Internet Talk Radio, Voice America Business Network.
You know that the career landscape has changed and that you need to be proactive about managing your career. You can have the foresight, skills, and confidence you need to take charge of your career and seize opportunities. A strategic advantage and career expert, Marie Zimenoff has helped thousands of leaders like you get focused, get found, and get hired. Visit getcareersmart.com to find out more. That's getcareersmart.com or call 800-521-2080 to schedule your complimentary consultation. Effective leadership is what will propel the world, organizations, and businesses through a range of dynamic changes. How do you keep up with these changes, build skills, and lead effectively? Listen for Innovative Leaders Driving Thriving Organizations with Maureen Metcalf. Maureen offers tools and engaging guests who are leaders in their field. With each week, you'll work on and improve your skills to lead with confidence and drive your organization's success. Tune in every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific on Voice America Business.
Now you don't have to stay linked to your desktop or laptop. Take Voice America on the go and listen anywhere. Get our mobile app for iPhone, BlackBerry, or Android at the Apple iTunes App Store, BlackBerry App World, or Android Market.
When it comes to business, you'll find the experts here. Voice America Business Network.
You are tuned in to The Career Confidante with Marie Zimenoff. If you have a question or comment for Marie or her guest today, please call 1-866-472-5790. That's 1-866-472-5790. You may also send an email to marie@astrategicadvantage.com. Now, back to The Career Confidante.
Welcome back to the Career Confidante, and today we're talking about brand trends. So what's going on in 2016 that you need to know about to communicate who you are, what you stand for, and where you want to go with the people that matter. And we just got done talking about how that kind of circle of people that matter has grown from those internal to your company to those external in your industry, in your type of work, in your geography, wherever it is that you think you want to move and how you're going to move is going to be bigger than your internal company. It just is the trend. Internal promotions have become less and less, which is in some ways maybe strange and in some ways makes a lot of sense, right? People aren't retiring, they're staying in the workforce longer. It just is a fact of life. So if we want to move up, we have to realize that that might mean we need to move out, and our network needs to support it. Those people who know our brand need to be in a little bit wider circle. So as you're building your visibility, and you may be doing it on LinkedIn or you're doing it at conferences, you want to be showing your value, not just telling it. Great thing about a conference presentation is that it does that, right? It shows your ability to create whatever it was that led into the presentation, create the presentation, deliver the presentation. All of those are great skill sets that someone is actually seeing you have versus you telling them that you have it. On LinkedIn, again, that might be a slide share or an upload of some sort, a document that demonstrates your abilities, even a paper that you've published, the fact that you did publish at a conference or present at a conference. The more show versus tell that can be, the better off you'll be. Just listing that you presented at a conference, for instance, is great. And if you can have a snippet of video, a abstract even of the paper, presentation, whatever that might be, is going to be stronger because it's show instead of tell. Which goes back to the video, right? In some ways, the video is going to show that expertise in a quick 60 to 90 seconds versus just telling somebody that you have it. LinkedIn does allow you to do all those uploads, right? You can add video to your profile. You can upload or link to documents. Gives you the opportunity to have a really multimedia experience, which is great for lots of reasons, and can show that value versus just telling it. So our last one is this idea of companies and people really valuing your dedication to continuing your own education. Things are moving quickly, and if you haven't kept up with what your industry is doing, you're most likely going to be behind, right? In this world of our fast-paced movement, that's just the way it is. And so lots of companies are adding opportunities for continuing development, but the opportunities for continuing development outside of that are astonishing. The Coursera opportunities, the online opportunities. I was looking at an e-marketing certificate through Cornell a couple of years ago, and the value, the low cost, although you got to be a little bit careful about that, right? What are you really getting? What do you really need out of it? How is it going to be beneficial to you? There are so many options for you to be able to take maybe some sort of a class where you're just sitting and listening. Lots of those are free. If you want to actually get some kind of feedback and walk through something with someone, still lots of options, very low cost. Of course, LinkedIn purchased Linda training about a year ago now, and so they haven't done much with that yet, but I'd imagine here at some point they're going to be pushing their ability to help you get your continuing education and do your research, right? What is it that you really want out of that training? What is it they're saying they provide? For instance, a lot of the Coursera courses are, lots of great information from very high-ranking institutions, and if that's what you need, those are amazing. Again, if you need more input, feedback, you're probably not going to get it from that type of a class. They're running thousands of people through that kind of a class. So you find a different option. Find something where you do get more of that small class feel, even though it may be online, probably cost a little bit more. And you may end up investing on these on your own. In fact, you may end up investing in things you think your company should pay for, but guess what? If it's really that important to your career, it's important to you, not your company. And that's the way it will work. So if you want that sales training, if you want to move into marketing and you want to go take a marketing class on product management or whatever it might be, talk to your boss about it. Talk to your HR department about it. May not be in your boss's budget, but it may be something HR helps facilitate. And at the end of the day, if it's something you need to get where you want to go, you're going to have to make it happen on your own, perhaps. And that is the wonderful world that we live in, where you have more on your shoulders to take care of your career, but that also means that you have more flexibility and more ability to determine where you go in your career. Always a double-edged sword. So as you're thinking about 2016, what you want to get out of it in your career, I would encourage you to think about your brand, and that isn't necessarily any kind of marketing term. It's really about you. What do you do? What are your strengths? Where do you want to go in your career? And then that branding piece is, how are you communicating that message? How are you letting people know what you want to do, who you are, where you're going? And if you're doing it consistently and your brand is clear, it doesn't have to be pushy, it doesn't have to be boastful. It simply is who you are and what you do in everyday work. Everything that you do, those things are clear to not just you, but to those around you through your efforts to communicate, build your visibility online and in person in ways that make sense for you and your career. If you want to see some of William's other branding trends, again, William Arruda from the Reach Branding organization, go to Forbes, search for William Arruda, Arruda, and you'll see his articles there with his trends for 2016 in building your brand. If you have any questions or if I can help you with your branding process, feel free to reach out to me at Marie, Marie, at astrategicadvantage.com. And I look forward to seeing you here back again next week on the Career Confidant.
Thank you for listening to The Career Confidant. Marie Zimenoff will return again with another terrific guest next Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific on the Voice America Business Channel. Be sure to join us then.